I got married for the first time at the age of 21. It happened on the ocean in California. My wife was not very smart, although she was beautiful, and shy, but extremely loving girl, who before me, as it turned out, had slept with half of the college soccer team where I studied. Why I married then, and I do not know myself, probably fell in love with a beautiful face and long legs. But as they say, what's done is done. For a while, about 2 years, we lived at her house with her stepfather and mother. I worked nights, came early in the morning, and went to bed. My wife and mother-in-law worked in a small grocery store. My mother-in-law, Sylvia, was even better than her daughter, a woman of amazing beauty, with a figure shaped like a guitar, with beautiful large breasts, smooth rounded hips. In a word, she attracted me much more than her daughter. By the way, my mother-in-law sympathized with me and flirted with me modestly. She would casually pass in front of me in her underwear and shriek in surprise, or bend over for the cutlery, as if not knowing that I was in the room at that moment, or throw a magazine or a newspaper describing the history of the relationship between the son-in-law and mother-in-law. I haven't taken any action yet, but over time, the emotional tension in my lower abdomen has been building. Since my mother-in-law doesn't work, and I work the night shift, we are often alone with her during the day. One day, I woke up in the middle of the day, went to the kitchen, and saw my mother-in-law sitting at the table in her nightgown, massaging her neck with her hands. "What's wrong?" I asked. "My neck hurts, so I'm in agony," she replied. "The doctor prescribed me a preventive massage, but I can't go for it." "Could you please give me a massage? You're a massage therapist. You graduated from massage courses, right?" "Sure," I offered. "Thank you, dear," my mother-in-law said gratefully. I started with her neck, then moved on to her shoulders, and finally her back. I suggested she lie on the bed for a full massage. It would be more comfortable that way. She was hesitant at first, but finally took off her shirt. From that point on, I started giving her a massage daily. Gradually, she got used to my touch and even asked me to rub her back in the bathtub. However, I went further and started washing her whole body. At first, she protested and said that it was indecent, but I convinced her to see it as a medical procedure, and she seemed to be satisfied with this explanation. I felt a strong desire that I couldn't contain. I couldn't wait to give her pleasure in a more adult and pleasurable way. However, just as I was about to spring into action, I entered the kitchen and found my mother-in-law in tears. Concerned, I asked her what was wrong and learned that her husband had been on edge all morning and they had had a fight. Wanting to help her relax, I offered to give her a soothing massage. I was already tense myself. I undressed her and started massaging her, but she couldn't help herself and laughed and said she was ticklish. To calm her down, I started stroking her head and even kissed her. Surprised, she asked what I was doing. I told her to shut up and relax. She didn't resist, and I achieved what I wanted. Afterward, she confessed that in all these years, no man had ever given her such pleasure. We cleaned up and had dinner together. As my mother-in-law was clearing the table, I saw her bend over, and we repeated our sweet encounter, this time on the kitchen table. From that moment on, I became her favorite son-in-law. Even after my divorce from her daughter, I still visit my former mother-in-law from time to time. My discreet trysts with Sylvia continued even after my divorce from her daughter. We both understood that it was a purely physical affair, two consenting adults finding pleasure and escape from the tedium of everyday life. Sylvia had made it clear that she had no intention of leaving her husband or having a serious relationship with me. And I had no desire to marry a woman who was not young enough, although she was very beautiful and desirable. We were happy that our secret affair was casual and discreet. When I was transferred to a daytime schedule, the opportunities to be alone with Sylvia diminished. But I still managed to sneak over to her house a couple times a month when her husband worked overtime. We would spend hours greedily devouring each other on every surface in her living room, and we no longer had to restrain our desires since there was no one else home to eavesdrop. and afterward, we would lazily lie on the couch, chatting about innocuous topics as if we had done nothing wrong. As the months passed, the frenzied love energy between Sylvia and me smoothed out into a comfortable intimacy. The raging lust still remained, but now it was tempered by sincere affection. We still hid the nature of the relationship. Neither of us wanted to ruin our lives over it. And so it went on. My energetic and irresistible former mother-in-law welcomed me into her bed whenever fate allowed us to spend a few happy hours together. It was a perfect, discreet arrangement, giving us both the thrill of the forbidden without any complications or obligations.